Hello there, a very warm welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. You're watching Smart 24 TV, where we drive your business. And my name is Anthony Sabale, and I am your host. Remember, Smart 24 TV is live on channel 394 GOTV and channel 372 DSTV, and you can catch us live online on our YouTube's channel there at Smart 24 TV Live. You can follow me on Twitter at Anthony Sabale to get the latest, and also go to our website at www.smart24tv, and there you will find data on the Uganda Securities Exchange, the different media, of course, concerning the financial, global and domestic markets. This is Financial Markets, and it's proudly brought to you by Altex East Africa. And with Altex East Africa under the Zabo initiative, we are saying you can do something absolutely new and wonderful. What do you need? All you need is your phone and no data. Yes, no problem. You can dial simply *292#, and following the prompts, you will be able to register. But you'll also be able to buy treasury bonds or sell at the convenient prices and with the biggest interest rates on the East African market. You can also choose to learn more about the products if you want to learn more about Altex East Africa and what they do. Now, with Altex, we are saying you can start with as little as 15,000 shillings to buy a treasury bond, not only here in Uganda, but in the entire East Africa, in Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania. Altex markets open at 15 past 8 a.m. and close at 15 past 3 p.m. Altex East Africa, we are saying you can do something new. Absolutely, there you have it, and let's dive into the business of the stock markets here on the number one station, of course, for business, and getting to look into the Uganda Securities Exchange trades on Monday, looking at back to Wednesdays and the Tuesday tradings. There's been an average increase in the number of participating equities, with Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday tradings going up to 4 members participating in the trades here on the Uganda Securities Exchange. Now, the day on Tuesday, trading day, closed with a total of 2 gainers, 4 participants, and 6 losers on the market. At the moment, the 2 gainers were the Uganda Clay stock at a 1.93% increase in price. That was realized on Tuesday to a price of 15.29 Ugandan shillings. Centum Investments as well appreciated by 0.72% up to 262.17 Ugandan shillings per share. Now, Uganda Clays has been quite silent on the Uganda Securities Exchange. Remember, this is one of the oldest listings we have on the Uganda Securities Exchange. Its listing dates way back in 2000, and the stock has been trading for the longest in terms of the domestic equities here on the Uganda Securities Exchange. Now, Uganda Clays currently has a total stock of about 13.8 billion Ugandan shillings, representing close to 0.066% of the entire Uganda Securities Exchange equities market. At the moment, we are counting a gain of 0.29 shillings in price as per trading yesterday, up to 15.29 Ugandan shillings, and that was up by 1.93% on the Uganda Securities Exchange. The average pricing for the Uganda Clay stock has been at least 15 shillings in the last 3 or 4 months. That's dating way back in September 2022. And looking further into 2022, the highest price that the stock had was actually 26 shillings last year. That was around the month of July in 2022. But then way back in 2019, the company had prices as high as 30 shillings. That's how much we are talking about currently in the last 4 years of trading for the Uganda Clay stock. On Tuesday, Uganda Clays had a volume of 61,588 shares traded, and this accrued a total value of 941,620 Ugandan shillings that was traded on the Uganda Securities Exchange. At the moment, Uganda Craze enjoys about 900 million shares traded, rather floated on the exchange out there for shareholders, valued at 13.8 billion, which is their market capitalization. Now, let's look at the performance here. In the shorter term, when we look at 1 week, the company has been able to add at least 1.93% on the value of shareholders in that line. And in the 4 weeks, they have added still 1.93%, similar to the last 3 months. Basically, meaning this rise was the first significant rise the company has had since last year, in the last quarter of 2022. Now, Uganda Craze Limited stock closed at 15.29 Ugandan shillings, adding 1.9% to the value of every shareholder at a price of 15.29 after rising from 15 shillings the day before. However, Uganda Craze began the year, unfortunately, with a price of 17.20 Ugandan shillings, and currently it's experiencing an 11.1% depreciation at the moment in year-to-date performance. So, yes, there was a moment at the beginning of the year where the stock was trading as high as 17.2, though it wasn't that sustained for that long. It is still registered as a loss currently on the year-to-date. Now, in terms of trading, the Uganda Craze stock is the 5th most traded on stock out of the 18 listings on the Uganda Securities Exchange in the past 3 months. We are talking about the period between November 17th to the 21st of February 2023. In this period, Uganda Craze has been able to trade over 1.19 million shares on the market that are valued at 17.9 million Ugandan shillings. That's how much that Uganda Craze has contributed towards the Uganda Securities Exchange. Now, the Centum stock did not have any activity, much as it did appreciate by 0.72% up to a price of 262.7 Ugandan shillings. At the moment, Uganda Craze, rather Centum Investment, currently has about 174 billion Ugandan shillings worth of market capitalization, with about 665 million shares that are listed here on the Uganda Securities Exchange. Now, Centum Investments is an investment company. It's based in Kenya, but it's cross-listed on the Uganda Securities Exchange and domestically listed on the Nairobi Securities Exchange. The company's stock currently was not very active. Actually, the last day they traded was 11th of August last year, where they had a volume of about 7,800 shares and closed the day with a price of 308.81. That was the last day they traded, and basing on that value, they have significantly lost value through the years, especially last year. Last year was quite devastating for the Centum Investment stocks. It lost in year to date almost over 50%, because at the beginning of 2022, the Centum Investment stock was valued at almost 444 shillings. And by the close of last year, we had the stock at prices as low as 240, currently at 262. A little bit of a rise, but still not sufficient yet, because this rise in terms of year to date is valued at 6.03%. Well, Centum Investments can do better. And at least when you look into the cross listings, Centum Investments is the only stock that has put up a better fight. I couldn't say good, but a better fight compared to the other cross listings, mainly like KCB, East African Breweries, and Equity Group Holdings that are cross listed from Kenya. There's a lot of inactivity in those companies, and at least Centum has put up a good fight, though that is not yet where we want to see the stock, especially for the investors here in Uganda. Now, regarding the losses here on the Uganda Securities Exchange, we had several stocks, 6 equities that lost value. Mainly these were cross listings from Nairobi. Nation Media Group came at the bottom with a 4.36% price depreciation at a closing price of 432.58 Ugandan shillings. Remember, Nation Media Group has been also struggling recently to get back to the 500 shillings mark. Well, the fight seems to be going a little not in the favor of Nation Media Group. On Tuesday, the company's stock fell by 4%, down to 432.58 Ugandan shillings. East African Breweries Limited also lost consequent there of the trades on Tuesday, a 4.3% value on their stock price, down to 5,068.62 Ugandan shillings. This is another stock that is promising, but we haven't realized the full potential of the stock here in Uganda. East African Breweries Limited continues to be the biggest brewery in East Africa, with 100% stake in Kenya Breweries and about 93% in Uganda Breweries Limited. And in Tanzania, it has 86% stake in Kibo Breweries as well. East African Breweries currently is the third most valuable stock, coming behind Equity Group Holdings and MTN Uganda, currently with a 4.01 trillion Ugandan shillings market capitalization. Apparently on the exchange as well, KCB lost some value at exactly 0.56% depreciation, down to 1,121.51 Ugandan shillings. This is another stock that has tried to be resilient this year, but with no activity. Activity is what drives the markets, and if there is no activity, there is no value for shareholders, whether a loss or a gain. Now, Jubilee Holdings, East African Breweries, Equity Bank Limited were some of the other losers, and Kenya Airways losing at 0.17%, down to 111.57. Well, for Kenya Airways, there's been a lot of speculations about the merging of South African Airways with Kenya Airways recently, and this is going to be seen as a way of getting to rejuvenate the company. Remember, Kenya Airways is one of the most indebted airlines in Africa and in East Africa as well. There's still a little bit of a feel of what the shocks were from the pandemic. The way you saw, for example, the many airlines that were shut down and there was no flying, and the pilot strikes and so many other problems that currently Kenya Airways is facing. But there's a merge between South Africa and Kenya Airways that is underway, and that will probably be one of the things that will return the airline to the business and get to make it more profitable. Now, amongst the participants in the trading, we had as well Stanbic Bank Uganda. Stanbic Bank Uganda came out with the biggest volume for the day. We are talking about over 111,511 traded shares, followed by Uganda Clays at 61,588 shares, and Bank of Baroda Uganda at 10,370 shares, whereas Wumeme had about 767 shares that were traded. Yes, Bank of Baroda was another new participant on the list with the 10,370 shares volume. This was closing at a price of 85 shillings. Yes, so Bank of Baroda is still coming back this time round as a participant in the trading there. Last year, Bank of Baroda issued a dividend of over 25 billion, where every shareholder got at least 4 shillings on their stock price, on their stocks, depending on how much stock you had with them. So I think Bank of Baroda is also one of those most dedicated dividend issuers, together with Stanbic Bank Uganda on the Uganda Securities Exchange. Now, as far as the all-share index is concerned, this is the tracker of the aggregate performance of all the listings on the Uganda Securities Exchange. The all-share index went up 12.90 points, rather declined 12.90 points, down to 1,205.34 points. This is currently a 0.87% weekly loss and a 4-week loss of 0.6%, currently being counted on the benchmark Uganda Securities Exchange. Remember, indices give us a good picture of the aggregate movement. So if you just want to know the health of the Uganda Securities Exchange, you can always check out the all-share index. It will give you a good picture. Now, on the other hand, the USE local company index, attributing to the increase in price of Uganda clay stock, it moved upwards at a total gain of practically 0.31%, up to 273.26 points. Currently, it's enjoying a year-to-date gain of 0.22%. Yes, activity looks much better on Tuesday. We definitely hope today will be even better. After watching the show, why don't you go out on the Uganda Securities Exchange and then open yourself an account and buy some shares through a licensed stockbroker. Buying shares is not rocket science. All you need is an account. That account is called the Securities Central Depository. You cannot do anything on the exchange without that account. And to open the account, it's absolutely free of charge and easy as ABCD. You can simply go to your phone and search out for www.use.org.com and then go to Easy Portal. There's an Easy Portal on the USE website, and when you go there, you will be able to see a certain dialog box where you'll be able to fill your email, your national identification number, and before you know it, you will have opened an account at no cost. Now, after getting the account, then you need to go into the list of brokers. We do have SPG Securities, Cheaper Technologies, Dyer and Blair, and UAP Old Mutual. All these can be able to buy for you shares on the exchange, because according to the USE listing rules, you must buy shares through a licensed stockbroker at the moment. And when you do that, definitely our market will get bigger and better. Remember, the capital market contributes not only to you as an individual getting to buy shares into these companies, but also to the health of the economy, because it's the biggest and the cheapest source of capital there is in the world. Let's get to cross over to Nairobi very briefly and have a look at what took place on the busiest stock exchange here in East Africa. Now, on the second day of trading, 46 listings participated out of the 65 listings on the Nairobi Securities Exchange. The day ended with 15 gainers and 17 losers on the market. Nairobi Business Ventures led the gainers with a 7.87% price appreciation, and Home Africa appreciated a 6.67%, whereas Nation Media Group appreciated 4.04%. Yes, that's the contrast. On the Uganda Securities Exchange, NMG lost, and now on the Nairobi Securities Exchange, we are seeing an appreciation. That's how it happens, because the two listings are different and they play out different depending on the conditions of the market and the activity on that particular stock. The losing side had EGADS come out at the bottom. EGADS lost a total value of 9.09% down to a 10.0 Kenyan shillings price. And Ever Ready East Africa lost 8.57%, and Samia Africa about 7.39%. The Nairobi Securities Exchange also lost 3.89% price in price value as well. Safaricom returned as the biggest mover of the day with a 1.57 million shares volume, and Kenya Power and Lighting Company appreciated also with a total volume of 673,000 shares, and Cooperative Bank of Kenya about 500,000 shares, and Capaseed Investments 475,000. These are the busiest equities on the market. They must have trading every day, so it is indispensable for you to have shares in some of these. For example, Safaricom Kenya Power and Lighting Company, Cooperative Bank of Kenya, Absa Bank Kenya. These are they are indispensable. You cannot do away without them, especially when your portfolio involves these East African stocks here and there. Now, regarding the performance of the indices, the benchmark index of Nairobi Securities Exchange, the NSE All Share Index, inched up 0.01 points at a closing of 127.12 points, whereas the NSE 20, which tracks the top 20 companies, including what I just mentioned, Safaricom, Absa, Cooperative Bank of Kenya, Equity Group Holdings, and the like, went up 0.15%, and the NSE 25 went up 0.12%. A very good day for Nairobi Securities Exchange, seemingly on the trading. Let's get to cross over to different other regions of the world and get to look into as well what's happening on the US market. Now, at the moment, we are seeing a very good market at the opening of the New York Stock Exchange at the moment. Looking at the big indices, the S&P 500, that is tracking the top 500 companies, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, and the Nasdaq Composite here on the exchange. But getting to look at Coinbase global shares jumped after crypto exchange's fourth quarter earnings revenue went up to $629.1 million US after rising above the Wall Street expectations of close to 581 million. Now, the bar was set relatively low for Coinbase at the moment amid a sharp fall in trading volumes last quarter of 2022 following a decline in cryptocurrency prices, but as well as the collapse of the FTX.com and the increase in regulatory scrutiny of the cryptocurrency markets. Now, Coinbase and crypto are proved to be largely resilient in 2022 despite major shocks to the system, and managed to hit a total revenue of 629 million US dollars. Of course, when investors hear of such an improvement, they will definitely run to buy that stock. So Coinbase is currently one of the stocks doing really well on the markets there on the New York Stock Exchange. Now, moving just into a little bit into the cryptocurrency market, the Bitcoin is currently still struggling to get up to 25,000 US dollars, a mark which is going to be one of the best achieved since last year, when the cryptocurrency market almost crashed. Now, based on data currently right now from CoinDesk, www.coindesk.com, Bitcoin is selling at least 24,000 shillings in the last 24,000 US dollars in the last 24 hours, and has seen a gain of just about 0.3% at the moment. Last year, remember, wasn't a good year for crypto, with lots of losses and very many coins losing out on the fourth quarter of 2022 earnings. And this year, we're definitely seeing a different picture and hoping things will be streamlined for the better on the cryptocurrency market at the moment. That's it, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Remember, we are brought to you by Altex East Africa, your number one private stock exchange. And if you're out there and you are interested in buying treasury bonds in East Africa, we're saying with Altex, you can do something new. You can simply grab your phone right now, and by simply dialing *292#, you'll be able to register and buy the latest bonds at the biggest interest in the land. Treasury bonds are government transferable debts which are issued through the central banks in the respective countries, and they can be sold on either the primary market and on the secondary market. Altex East Africa is giving you trading on the secondary market level with the convenience of your phone, and that is something new that they're saying you can do if you dial *292#. My name is Anthony. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We have a very lovely day ahead, of course, for the Catholics out there. You're going out for Ash Wednesday. We wish you a very good Lenten season. And for our dear viewers, Stay tuned on Smart 24 TV as we drive your business. See you.